On this first episode of 2020, we talk about the Archons. Is there an ancient evil power behind current world events? And have they been manipulating humanity from behind the scenes throughout the ages? Let's dive in. I'm your host, Melissa Tittle, and every week I go to my favorite bar, Cosmic Cantina, and kick back with my co-hosts, Josh Golombeski and Matt O'Connor. We talk about aliens, Bigfoot, ghosts, ancient cultures, and anything from the unseen world that needs a little illumination. Welcome back to Cosmic Cantina. This is our first episode of 2020. Woo! And tonight,
Season 2.
We're drinking hard kombucha, Alasa, which is pretty good. Pretty good stuff.
Great.
We're embracing the kombucha craze.
We're trying to be healthy, but still get a buzz.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Right.
Awesome. All right, so I want to bring up something that's a little bit timely that's going on. There's a lot of things happening in the Middle East. We don't talk about politics here, but we do talk about things that could possibly be evil. Ooh. So I came across this story that was published January 9th, and it was on ABC News. And it's a photo of a solar eclipse rising over the Persian Gulf, causing quite a stir on social media. And it looks like devil horns. You can go to ABC 7 News, you can see this article, and you can see the picture. The funny thing was this is actually taken December 26th by astronomy buff who thought it was interesting. And it didn't get published till after the whole conflict in Iran started happening.
So it was a precursor. It was a harbinger.
Yeah, it was a precursor. So it got posted, and then people were saying this is the dawn of evil because it's in the Persian Gulf, and it's what does it mean type of thing. So, of course, a lot of astronomers are saying, look, there's nothing evil over the Persian Gulf. It's just this.
Thanks, science.
Guys,
exactly. Just relax.
Thank
with your
God,
devil
because
stuff.
I immediately panicked and thought the devil was returning.
Yeah, the devil was coming up over the sea of the Persian Gulf. But I find it interesting. The reason I'm bringing up this story is that I think that it's very interesting that, first of all, it was taken December 26th. Then it was posted right after the Iranian missile crisis that just happened. And then people are calling it the dawn of evil. So the reason I'm bringing this up is that I think that there's a subconscious level of thinking that it's not about a certain country. It's just that there's some evil shit going on. And people are posting about it. And people are trying to find evidence about it. Like, what's going on? There's, like, fires in Australia. Like, we're possibly on the brink of World War III. There's, like, a panic. There's, like, a fear. And so we're looking for any evidence, no matter how crazy it is, devil horns coming up over the Persian Gulf.
Yeah.
And I think it's just worth talking about. Because what if that fear has some truth to it?
Yeah. Sure. Is that what the only thing that people were freaking out about was that it just looked like devil horns? It was there.
Right. Well,
I was just thinking it's funny that we still, it's been millennia and we're still looking up into the sky and trying to find meaning.
Yes.
It's
right.
pretty.
Right, but we're humans. Like, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Because
it's the oldest
we have this
story ever
understanding that the unseen world tells us more than the seen world, even though we're taught that everything needs evidence and just like, the astronomy people in this article are saying, like, look, you guys, there's no devil coming up over the Persian Gulf. But
if it happened 5,000 years ago, it would definitely be a bigger deal. People would definitely hold more stock in it for sure.
Right, but I feel like people are holding stock into it now. And so you have to think to yourself, you can't... I think a lot of people are kind of embracing this fact that they don't think that specifically there's a country to blame for, like, what is happening in the Middle East. I mean, we can go down that road, but that's not our podcast. That there's just something pulling the strings. Like, what is happening in the Middle East that we must constantly fight over? Like, countries, like, not just the United States are there, but there's Russia, and there's China, and then what's really happening with Iran. Like, we don't have to answer that question, but we can say, what is happening that we must be there besides oil? Could there be somebody pulling the strings behind the strings? Right?
I'll tell you what's the
there?
Stargate.
Stargate. Yes, I've heard of the Stargate.
So I've heard. I'm not going to hang my hat on that one, but that's what I've heard. There's all sorts of crazy buried stuff over there. It's not just the oil, but there's other stuff.
There's the idea that there was a UFO crash in the 90s.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there. I can't remember the exact year, but there was a UFO crash And so it was around the time that we decided to topple Saddam's whole regime.
The first time?
The first time.
Okay.
And so apparently, I actually did this story for History Channel. Apparently there was a UFO crash, and it was reported by a bunch of shepherds. There was something weird that happened in the sky. There was a crash, and then shortly after, we invaded.
Huh.
Yeah, that
So
was
the motivation wasn't oil and control.
Well, yeah, so that's just a theory. That's just a theory.
Well, that's a theory I could buy into. It sounds more exciting.
I'm on
Sounds
board.
more
I got
exciting.
Josh.
I'm on board.
Well, what's going on in the Middle East? Yes, it's old. It's where like a lot of religion and civilization started, which is
Right.
important. It could be something esoteric like a UFO or an ancient structure that it holds importance why we want to go there,
Right.
or it could just be oil. But I think what you're getting at is that not only is it just the global elite positioning pieces to try to control the Middle East, there's something going on even above that potentially
Right.
that is causing a non-stop war on purpose. Like it's not supposed to end. That's the kind of the part of it that is really compelling because it's been hundreds of years. Like we can't get our shit together as a human race. Like really, it's that bad? I mean,
Right.
It probably is.
Nobody's even conquered that since Alexander the Great.
So like, what's going on there? Why is it perpetual war forever?
Right. There's also the theory I've talked about this guy before on this podcast. If you want to check him out, his name is Matthias. That there's an energetic presence in the Middle East that kind of holds the whole power of the entire planet. You know, he's very esoteric. But so whoever holds the power of that region holds the power of the earth. So if somebody was just to retreat from it, then somebody else would come in and take the power.
Huh.
So that's his theory, but then
like when he says center, though, is it like a specific monument or a part out in the desert?
No, I don't think it's a
talking
monument.
about?
I mean, I think specifically he was talking about Iran
So
as being kind of the heart of the planet.
who has it
Really?
now? Iran has it? Because they're certainly not like a big power.
No, but I mean,
They're not using it?
well, no, there's a reason why we have a presence there, right? And there's
Yeah.
a reason why Russia wants a presence there,
Yeah.
and China's coming along.
Right. And is it really about oil either? I mean, we produce a lot of our own oil now. We cross the threshold where
Right.
we
Plus,
produce
I mean-
more than we import.
Plus, I mean, I think there's a lot of people listening to this podcast that think we have the ability to have different kinds of energy. So, is it about
Yes.
oil? Right?
Yeah.
No. So the thing is that I don't think that you can blame a country or a person. We can find many reasons to do that because that's what we do in our culture. We blame people.
Yeah.
But
It's
why
fun,
would
too.
that's what we do? But why would? But why wouldn't? Could there be something else pulling the strings behind that? Like who gets these ideas?
Dark forces behind the string.
Could there be dark forces?
Yeah.
You did some research on Gnosticism about Archons.
I did. So the Archons, guys.
Explain to us what the Archons are, because I think that might feed into the narrative.
Yeah, so at the moment, I feel like it's another one of those blanket terms that a lot of researchers, in quotes, kind of use to kind of talk about, like, I don't know, the Illuminati, I guess, and like it was reptilians before that, the shapeshifters.
Well, like demons, archons.
Demons, yeah, like the sort of
The
the dark
jinn.
force behind the scenes,
Yeah.
manipulating man,
Through greed and power.
greed and power, yeah, that sort of thing. So, I mean, in Gnosticism, so just to back up on Gnosticism in general, it's basically
Wait. So before you go that, do archons come from Gnosticism?
It's a term.
The term
in
originates
Yes.
from Gnosticism.
Yes.
yes and no. There's a few different
That's a compliment,
sects that
yes.
kind of borrow, and this is the kind of the problem with religions in general. Once you start looking at something, you realize that everyone borrowed from everyone else.
Yeah.
So all
Right.
different religions have all different parts of all this kind of stuff. I guess the Gnostics were one of the first, I guess, to really kind of have this idea, but really it's just...
They're an early sect of Christianity.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody
really,
listening.
and before that, it's just the whole idea of there being a battle between the light and the dark. Mm-hmm. It's like the oldest story ever told. It's the basis of every story, basically.
Yep.
The light versus dark.
We've heard that
So
before.
Gnosticism basically comes from the word gnosis, which means knowledge. Mm-hmm. Gnosticism. Here's their shtick. There were these things called aeons, and this is the light.
Yeah.
This is the goodness. There's the female energy and the male energy. Mm-hmm. And one of these aeons, whose name was Sophia, decided she wanted to create some shit. This is very rudimentary she births this thing called the Demiurge. And so the Demiurge was the creator of the material cosmos and imagined himself to be the absolute god. So this Demiurge sort of took on this role as this god.
This version of Christianity doesn't have the Holy Trinity?
Well, this isn't Christianity.
Oh.
So the Christians tried to destroy this religion back in
Right.
the day. They burnt all the fucking books. They wanted nothing to do with it.
But it's an early sect of Christianity. So
It is, yeah. A lot of
took some
Christianity
the
comes
same-
from this.
They took some of the same principles and put them into the Bible.
Yeah.
This is
So remember
before
I was
that.
saying, like, all these religions kept borrowing shit from all other religions?
Yeah.
Perfect example of this. So, creates a number of these spheres. Each one is ruled over by lower powers, or the Archons. So the Archons really just is a word for ruler. Basically, it's the boss, the ruler.
Not human, though. These are off-world entity type creatures?
So if you think of the Demiurge being the king and then the Archons being the lords.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the whole idea of Gnosticism is they believe that liberation can only be achieved by knowledge. Basically, is like learning stuff and the consumption and evaluation of reality through this knowledge. And the idea is you want to get out of this material world. So it's all about the duality. So there's the dark light, the yin and the yang. There's the material and the spiritual. The Archons basically have us locked into this material, corporeal form, and they don't want us to realize that we have this thing called a divine spark within all of us. And so we're supposed to sort of get out of this corporeal form and join back into the pleroma, which means fullness. So it's like the oneness. It's
The
like
oneness.
The
I
one
love
that everyone needs
those
to
tequila
come back.
drinks with grapefruit, palomas.
Pleroma?
Okay, sorry.
No, Melissa. No. Serious time now.
Okay, all right.
So basically, all the Archons are these. They rule over the material world, and they entrap man in this physical prison. And we have this inside our soul, this divine spark that is yearning to get back to the, what do they call it?
The pleroma.
Pleroma, which is like the oneness, the one energy of everything.
So the Archons are imprisoning us on this
Well, 'cause
planet, or is it on
they're-
purpose for us to learn something to break free of it? Is it
Well,
inherently evil? or is it just,
I think
you
the
know?
idea is there always has to be this balance.
But the thing is that we haven't been able to break through of it because we get obsessed with the materialistic society that the Archons keep creating. They're like, yeah, but if you just don't work so hard, then what are you going to have? Right? It's this constant, and it feeds into our society. It's not like a person. It's like it's a vein that runs so deep into our current existence, and it has for thousands of years. It's not like we just came upon this now. It's been like that since the dawn of civilization, which was Sumer. It is trapping humans in their own prison so they can never escape.
Even if you think about the way they're invading, it's not like a direct battle where they're coming in and like, pew, 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 like shooting us down. It's like it is like they're infecting us.
Well, this is really interesting. I did an interview with Sarah Adams. Sarah Adams is an intuitive healer, but she also gets hired by people to look into stuff on a remote viewing level. And she has been talking a lot on her personal media and a lot of people that she talks to about the Archons. So it's a thing that she's pretty passionate about. So I want you to listen to this interview that we did with her about this article on how the Iranians were saying that the United States might be ruled by white, tall aliens.
Our elite leaders around the world are deeply influenced by these negative forces, and this is why they lack empathy. This is why they lack compassion and heart, because anything that has been infected by this demiurge, by these archonic forces, will lack compassion, will lack all of those things. So they're using a lot of elite leaders around this world to carry out, oppression towards humanity, which then causes humanity to be very much emotionally stressed more and drained, and they're feeding off of that energy. So they are using our elite leaders to feed off of the humanity. I have the gifts to see spirits, so I'm able to see this force. I'm able to sense when it's in people. I'm able to. It doesn't it knows this, and it's not very happy that I know it. 'Cause it wants